Hi, my name is Kerry Critchlow from RCI Recording Studios, and today we're going to be talking about lyrics and song structure. Now, I want to preface this by saying that this is a very subjective type of thing when it comes to lyrics and how you structure your songs and how you go out writing lyrics. There's no real wrong or right way, right? There's no objective way to craft great lyrics or craft a great song. That being said, we can borrow from songs that are successful and learn from them, and learn a few rules that you might be able to apply to your own songwriting that can help you in crafting your music, your songs, your lyrics, etc. So anything I'm about to go over is not a hard, fast gospel law. God did not say, "Thou shalt," approach your lyrics this way. That being said, we can use these as a guide to help craft our songs and give ourselves a better chance of it being more widely accepted by the general listener. And we'll use examples from the Beatles, The Weeknd, and Nirvana to kind of show you how they use these rules and in some cases break them a little bit. So, but that being said, excuse me, just use this as kind of a general guide and approach it from that perspective. I'd also strongly suggest that aside from the examples we're going to be using today, that you look up the lyrics or memorize the lyrics of some of your favorite songs and see how they did it. And you can maybe use this as a guide while you're looking at them to see what it is that the artists were doing or thinking or how they crafted their song. So anyways, we'll jump into it. Lyrics and song structure. Lyrics are words and phrases used to tell a story, convey a thought, idea, or emotion. So we're going to be using words and phrases to tell a story, convey a thought, idea, or an emotion, right? So we want our lyrics to serve the purpose of this type of thing, right? And that's usually done through verses, choruses, or hooks, and various things. We're going to go over this. But verse 1, generally speaking, is going to be the setup or precursor to the main theme or the chorus, the hook, if you will. This can include the details of the story or necessary information for the chorus or hook to make sense. It can also describe the emotional state leading to the climax or the chorus, hook, whatever you want to call it. Chorus and hook, I've heard used synonymously together. So chorus is probably the more traditional kind of thing. It's also, we'll get into it when we get into the chorus part, but when it comes to the verses, this is kind of, or like the first verse, this is generally setting up your kind of your story or your emotional theme, your thought, your idea, right? This is kind of like the jumping off point where we're going to start our message, our story, whatever. And it can, it can include the details of the story or the necessary information for the chorus or hook to make sense. So this is kind of like we're introducing the characters, we're introducing the setup, the inciting incident, if you will, all of this kind of stuff. It can be used to just kind of explain the emotional state of whoever's telling the story or whoever's performing the song, singing the song, whatever. But it's used to kind of set up for what's to come next, right? Pre-choruses are, generally speaking, a framing device used to set up the chorus. It can also be used to recontextualize the verse. So, and we'll get into some examples of this going forward, but the pre-chorus is basically just kind of used to set up the chorus or make sure that we're ready for the chorus, but it can also lyrically be used to recontextualize the verse or help the verse make sense or kind of bridge us into the chorus, if you will. The chorus or the hook is typically the climax or main theme of the song. This is usually where the main point of the song lies. It's generally the refrain. It's repeated. Chorus 1, generally speaking, is the same as chorus 2 or chorus 3, etc. Lyrically speaking. So it's like often the chorus is going to be repeated several times in a song. Not necessarily. And in our examples, you will find out that you don't actually have to do that, but it is commonly used as a refrain or repeat. and it's repeated several times in a song. So it's typically the climax, the emotional release of the song, if you will, and it tends to be the main thing that all the verses and all the other lyrics are pointing to. So yeah, it's used as the big release of emotional tension, and it's the main purpose of the song, or the main statement, the main theme of the song. Some songs will utilize a post-chorus. Now, when it comes to all of this, none of this is necessary. You don't have to have a verse 1. You don't have to have a pre-chorus. You don't have to have a chorus. You don't have to have any of this stuff to have a song necessarily. But these are all things that you can include in your song to give you the best chance of other people being able to relate to it. So some songs include a post-chorus. It's a little less common generally, but it exists. And this is just often reinforcing or contextualizing the main theme or the main chorus. It can also be used as a framing device to set up for the next verse. So kind of the bridge between the chorus and then the next verse, or what comes after the chorus. So, and we'll get into examples of this as well. Verse 2, and I have an asterisk here. This is basically verse 2, all verses aside from verse 1. So verse 1 is generally going to be the setup, the precursor. Verse 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, whatever, however many verses you have, this applies to all of the verses that are not verse 1. So verse 2 is often a continuation of the narrative or story. It can reveal new information or reinforce what has already been revealed. It may also change the emotional state from a negative to a positive, or from a positive to a negative, or whatever, right? It can change the emotional state from what was to what is or what will be. So you can think of verse 2 as kind of like continuing the story, basically. But like I said, it can also reveal new information and add some new concepts to the song, right? And then it can also continue to set up for the main chorus. Generally speaking, you want the verses to be pointing towards the chorus or setting up for the chorus, like foreshadowing the chorus, if you will. And so you can use verse 2, verse 3, verse 4, verse 20, whatever, as a tool to do that. Bridges are generally speaking used as a twist to either recontextualize the chorus or to explore alternate emotional states. So, like, you can think of a bridge as like maybe like a twist, adding something new to the story, a twist, something that will surprise people. And generally, all of these things are also used alongside the music. So it's not just, I'm kind of approaching this from like a lyrics only standpoint, but there's also musical aspects that you can use as well. So like verse 1 might have a certain, chord structure to it, a certain melody. Then the pre-chorus may change the chords or the melody in order to kind of bridge into the chorus or the hook, and then the chorus might introduce some new musical themes as well. So like this is, while we're talking about lyrics and song structure here, there's an element here that you can think of as like musical changes as well, right? So you don't want the verse and the chorus to sound exactly the same, generally speaking. I mean, you can if you want, but if you want to keep your listeners engaged, it's probably a good idea to create some surprise or some differences between the verses and the chorus in order to keep your listeners engaged, right? And so the same can be said of the bridge, right? You can use the bridge as a musical framing device as well, in order to introduce some new musical themes as well as lyrical themes. And so this kind of applies to both the lyrics and the music, although we're specifically talking in the context of the lyrics today. The bridge is often used as a twist, so we've already covered this. You can also use it to essentially just be like a third or a fourth verse or whatever. Like it can be serve the same purpose as this verse 2 here, right? It could be the continuation of the narrative or story, etc. But a bridge usually is going to introduce new musical themes that are different from the verse, right? So lyrically, they can be similar, but musically, they're often going to be different. But lyrically, you can also use it to recontextualize the main theme. So, like if you're talking about, I don't know, a story about how you met a person, fell in love, and the chorus is how much it hurt when you guys broke up. The bridge might be something along the lines of introducing the information that, oh, maybe it was your fault that it happened, or just something that kind of puts a twist on the song, right? And kind of offers a surprise or something new that can maybe make the chorus feel like different. So like the first time you hear the chorus, maybe you have one emotional state, but after hearing the bridge, maybe there's another emotional state by hearing the same words of the chorus, that kind of thing. And hopefully this is all making sense. So these are the most common sort of lyric devices when it comes to songs. There could be others. Like I said, there's no like hard, fast rules when it comes to this kind of thing, but these are the most popular kind of expressions of song structure or song form, if you will, right? And we can get into how you can go about using those forms. And so some common song structures could be something like A, B, C, B. And that just means verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, right? That's probably the most basic song structure. So you have your verse 1, then you have a chorus, then you have your verse 2, you have a chorus, you have a bridge, and then you have a chorus, right? And so your verse 1 is the setup, then you have your chorus, which is kind of the main theme, the main kind of point of the song. Then you have your verse 2, which is the continuation of the narrative, or, you know, can reveal new information, reinforce what's already been revealed, etc. Then you go back to your chorus, which is the main theme again, and then you have a bridge, which can recontextualize the main theme and maybe give you something to think about the next time that the chorus comes about. And you can have this may be you can include like verse 1, verse 2 as this A. So it could be verse 1, verse 2, chorus, verse 3, verse 4, chorus, bridge, chorus, and then maybe another chorus. You can have your choruses repeat. You know, so have a verse, chorus, chorus, verse, chorus, chorus, verse, chorus, chorus, or a verse, chorus, verse, chorus, chorus, verse, chorus, chorus. Like there's, this is just kind of like the basic structure, if you will, but you can have some play within that, right? Then you can have something that's like your chorus, verse, bridge, chorus. So you start with your chorus instead of your verse. You start with the main theme, and then you start supporting that main theme with your verses, and then you have maybe a recontextualization, and then you're back to your chorus. Or you can just have something that does not have any bridges. It's just all verses. So chorus, verse, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. You can have something that has like a verse, then a pre-chorus, then a chorus, then a verse, then a pre-chorus, a chorus, then a bridge, and then a chorus. You can have nothing but verses, just verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, verse 4, verse 5, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and nothing ever changes. This might be more common in like folk or like blues or something like that, where it's kind of like there's not really a chorus per se, but just several verses that kind of happen over and over and over and over again. And then you can have like, you know, a verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. And in this case, when we do A, B, C, D, this D might be the introduction of like a new chorus. So like while it's a chorus, maybe it's the chorus in a different chord progression, or you're adding new lyrics to the chorus to recontextualize the song. But you're adding it can be just like a song outro. So like just something that's different from what's already come before, but it's still kind of considered a chorus. And then when it comes to rhyming schemes, When it comes to rhyming in lyric writing, it's very common, especially in like music and things like that. It's very common to have things rhyme. You don't have to. There's nowhere that says everything has to rhyme or that there's a need for everything to rhyme. In fact, there's lots of popular songs that exist out there that don't really use rhyming schemes, but it is very common, and so we should kind of go over it. And so these are some common rhyming schemes. These aren't all there is. There's probably 1,000 more out there that you could use, and you can get creative with this kind of stuff. But the most basic is probably going to be A, B, A, B. And essentially just that means like the A's are rhyming and the B's are rhyming. So if, this can be you, me, to, C, right? It's just that line 1 does not rhyme with line 2, but it does rhyme with line 3. So lines 1 and 3 rhyme, lines 2 and 4 rhyme, that kind of thing. Then you can have another very simple one, which is lines 1 and 2 rhyme, lines 3 and 4 rhyme. Then you can have line 1 and line 3 not rhyme at all, but lines 2 and 4 rhyme with each other. You can have lines 1, 2, and 4 all rhyme, and then one line in there that doesn't rhyme with anything, but all the rest do. You can have all of the lines rhyme with each other. You can have, lines 1 and 2 rhyme, lines 3 and 4 rhyme, lines 5 and 6 rhyme, 7 and 8 rhyme, etc. So this is like an extended, if you're doing like an extended verse, you can have each of your lines kind of rhyme with each other, but not necessarily the same rhyme scheme, right? Or you can have it be line 1 rhymes with line 4, and then lines 2 and 3 rhyme, and lines 5 and 6 rhyme. So like there's so many ways you can go about doing this. These are just kind of a few. Like oftentimes songs are going to use an even amount of lines, right? So like 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. But you can come up with rhyming schemes that have an odd number of lines as well. It just tends to be a little bit less popular or less common, if you will. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. And you don't have to stick with 4, 6, or 8 or whatever. You can introduce as many lines as you want. But these are just some of the more common ones and some ways to maybe just kind of think in order to get you started, right? And now we're going to go over some examples. And so we're going to start with the Beatles, Hey Jude. So in this song, you have verse 1, Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart, then you can start to make it better. So in this song, we have lines 2 and 4 that do rhyme. Lines 1 and 3, they don't rhyme. So this would be an A, B, C, B rhyme scheme here. And then in this song, they go from verse 1 into verse 2. Hey Jude, don't be afraid. You were made to go out and get her. The minute you let her under your skin, then you begin to make it better. So get her and better, they rhyme. So it's the same rhyme scheme. It's an A, B, C, B. Lines 2 and 4 rhyme. Lines 1 and 3 don't rhyme. So you can kind of see how they're using this A, B, C, B rhyme scheme here for the first 2 verses. And then instead of going to a chorus, in this song, they go to kind of a bridge, and you can think of this as bridge 1. And anytime you feel the pain, Hey Jude, refrain. So in this case, even though it's one line, they're actually rhyming pain and refrain in the line. And so in this rhyme scheme, I don't know necessarily what you would even call this, but you could think of it as if we were to maybe parse it out like this, and anytime you feel the pain would be line 1, Hey Jude, refrain. So this would be like an A rhyme scheme. Don't carry the world upon your shoulders. And then we have another rhyme scheme for well you know that it's a fool who plays it cool. So fool and cool rhyme. So we have an A, B, A-A-B. Shoulders rhymes by making his world a little colder, right? So we have an A-A-B, A-A-B, which is right here. So no, we don't have this one listed, but it's an AAB, AAB, right? So you can kind of think of it in those terms. They just happen to kind of have it on one line. So there's another thing to kind of consider. You can have things on the same line rhyme with one another. And in this case, if you kind of ignore that, you kind of have an A, B, C, B sort of rhyme scheme, just shoulders and colders, which is similar to the verses. And from the verses, this is not meant to be sort of like super analytical, but you can kind of see that this is sort of telling a bit of a story, right? Or giving sort of almost giving advice to somebody, right? It's kind of describing an emotional state of this Jude person. Hey, Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart. Then you can start to make it better. It's kind of giving some advice to Jude, and you can kind of infer a story out of this, right? You can kind of start to get a sense of who Jude is and what's kind of going on with Jude based on the advice that they're kind of giving him. Hey, Jude, don't be afraid. You were made to go out and get her. The minute you let her under your skin, then you begin to make it better. So we're giving Jude some advice here on how to, win this girl that he obviously likes. And anytime you feel the pain, hey, Jude, refrain. Don't carry the world upon your shoulders, right? Don't take the world on your, right? Like we're kind of getting this story here through the advice that's been given to Jude. For well, you know that it's a fool who plays it cool by making his world a little colder. So we're saying, Jude, don't be afraid to go out and chase the girl you love, essentially, right? Don't be a coward. And Jude is probably a little reluctant to go out and chase the girl he really likes. But the advice he's being given is to go out and get her anyways. Don't be afraid. Just, kind of go out there and make it happen. Hey, Jude, don't let me down. You have found her. Now go and get her. Remember to let her into your heart. Then you can start to make it better. And again, we have the A, B, C, B rhyme scheme, getter and better. Continuing this same rhyme scheme up here. And you can see that there's some similarities between the verses here, right? Get her and better, get her and better. They're reusing some of the same rhyme schemes. But there's some new information, right? Hey, Jude, don't let me down. You have found her. Now go and get her. Remember to let her into your heart. Then you can start to make it better. So there's some repeating going on. It's still the same advice. Go and get the girl, that kind of thing. But it's telling the story. It's setting up the emotional perspective of any guy or girl in this matter, or in this case, who's wanted to chase down the love of their life, but maybe is a little reluctant to do so. And this is just kind of offering some advice to take courage and go out there and give it a shot, right? So let it out and let it in. Hey, Jude, begin. You're waiting for someone to perform with, and you don't know that it's just you. Hey, Jude, you'll do. The movement you need is on your shoulder. So none of this actually rhymes. Bridge 2 does not share the same rhyme schemes necessarily. It does rhyme line to line. So let it out and let it in. And then, hey, Jude, begin, right? So we do have this AA rhyme scheme here. You're waiting for someone to perform with. This does not rhyme with the shoulder line here, but we do have, and don't you know that it's just you? Hey, Jude, you'll do. So we have these two rhyming with each other. This AA, B, AA, C, right? So the only lines that are rhyming are these two lines. These two lines are not rhyming. So you can I'm bringing this up to just kind of show you that you don't have to rhyme every time. You don't have to have the same structures or the same rhyme schemes every time. You can kind of mix it up, and you don't have to rhyme every time you write a line. And I know that rhymed. But then you can kind of see that this bridge is sort of So let it out and let it in. Jude begin. You're waiting for someone to perform with, and you don't know that it's just you. Hey, Jude, you'll do. The movement you need is on your shoulder. They're saying, hey, man, even though you're scared, you got everything you need in order to make this happen. You just need to go out there and do it, right? So we're continuing that kind of same advice. And then we have verse 4, hey, Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her under your skin, then you'll begin to make it better, which is kind of similar to, they're reusing some of the lines from verses 1 and 2, right? Hey, Jude, don't make it bad. Hey, Jude, don't make it bad. You have found her, now go and get her. Or, take a sad song and make it better. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her under your skin. The minute you let her under your skin, instead of remember to let her under your... So they're reusing some of the lyrics from verses 1 and 2 and verses 4, right? They're just continuing the story, and they're kind of reinforcing what's already been revealed to us in verses 1 and 2. And then you'll begin to make it better, 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 better. And then this is where that big na, 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 hey, Jude kind of chorus comes in, and it's big, and it's uplifting, and it's, and so the whole song is about giving this advice to this guy, Jude, who's terrified of going after the girl he likes, and this whole song is about giving Jude the courage to go out and do it, right? And you have this na 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 hey Jude kind of chorus, and it's big and it's anthemic and it's uplifting, and the kind of emotional tone shifts from this kind of sad and ballady first half of the song, or first third of the song, or whatever it is, to the last bit of the song where it's big and triumphant and uplifting, and it's just all being used to encourage this guy Jude to go out and chase this girl. So this is one concept of how you can go about and write a song, right? And it's framed from the idea of giving advice to somebody else. So it's kind of describing the emotional state, and you're getting the context clues from the advice that's being given to this person, right? And you can kind of relate to this because no matter who you are, you've probably been in a position where you've been really into somebody, but been too afraid to go and, put your heart out there. And so this advice is just saying, hey, even though you're afraid, go out and just do it, and make it happen, so to speak. So this is the Beatles. And the reason I use this example is because this was a huge, huge, huge hit back in the day. And it's an example of how you can use maybe non-conventional songwriting in order to craft a song, right? So there's only one chorus in this song. There's 2 bridges and 4 verses. And you can kind of see how they're telling this story through the advice they're giving to Jude. So the next example we're going to be using is Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana, which was also a massive hit. And this is probably a little bit more, I don't know what the right word, conventional maybe, in the song structure. So we have verse 1, then we have a pre-chorus, then we have a chorus, then we have a post-chorus, then we have verse 2, then we have a pre-chorus, a chorus, and then a post-chorus. And then we have verse 3, a pre-chorus, a chorus, and then a post-chorus. So in this song, there's 3 verses, there's no bridges, but we have a pre-chorus and a post-chorus. Verse 1, load up on guns and bring your friends. It's fun to lose them to pretend. So we have an A rhyming scheme here. She's overboard and self-assured. Oh no, I know a dirty word. So we have an A, assured and word rhyme, friends and pretend rhyme. So it's A, B, and it's a 4-line verse. Then we get to a pre-chorus, which is hello, 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 how low. And this is kind of setting up sort of for the chorus here, right? And the chorus is, with the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now, entertain us. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertain us. Now, in this case, all 4 lines of this chorus rhyme with each other using this us kind of contagious, entertain us, dangerous. All 4 lines are using the same us kind of rhyme scheme, but you can think of it as is dangerous and contagious are rhyming, and entertain us rhyme. So you can think of it as either A, or you can think of it as A, B, A, B. Either is going to be correct, right? Because even though they're all using this dangerous kind of thing, entertain us and entertain us are the same word, and contagious and dangerous are different words. So both are kind of correct, but you can kind of see that all four lines do rhyme with each other. And then we get into a post-chorus, a mulatto, an albino, a mosquito, my libido. Yeah, so mulatto, albino don't really rhyme. They all have O at the end of it, but they're kind of like partial rhymes, if you will. So you don't have to have everything be a perfect rhyme when it comes to your rhyme schemes. You don't have to have them rhyme at all, but if you are going to try and rhyme, you can do what are called like partial or half rhymes, right? They don't fully rhyme, but they're close enough. You know, each of them have the O at the end of it. But mosquito and libido have a closer kind of rhyme than mulatto and albino, right? But anyways, I'm not 1,000% exactly sure what this song means. And like I said, this is not necessarily meant to be a deep dive into the analytics, but it seems like what's happening here is we're describing more of a emotional state than an actual story, right? Load up on guns, bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend. She's overboard and self-assured. Oh no, I know a dirty word. It feels like we're just kind of setting up more of an emotional state than actual like storytelling. We're kind of saying, load up and guns, bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend. Well, it's not fun to lose, generally speaking, even though it can be fun to pretend. So there's a little bit of like, and is it really fun to load up on guns and bring your friends? Like, how does that all relate? So it's kind of describing more of like, I'm not even sure how to kind of go about this. It sounds good. And when it comes to 90s music, I've found that oftentimes it's very abstract in its nature. So it's not really telling a story. It's just almost a bunch of pretty words that sound good together. And then you can kind of derive your own meaning from it. I'm sure that Kurt Cobain, when he wrote this song, had something in mind when he was putting this all down, but it seems to be just describing the state of what it means to be like a teenager and having this angst and putting yourself in the position of like kind of that rebel without a cause almost, right? You have all this pent up energy and all this angst and all this emotional baggage kind of weighing on you, but you have no idea how to release it. And so he's kind of like encapsulating that to a degree, right? And then the chorus, with the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now, entertain us. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertain us. Again, it's kind of putting yourself in that sense of being a teenager and kind of the feelings that you had as a teenager and kind of expressing that. And then this post-chorus is just a bunch of words that kind of rhyme a little bit. And I have no idea what this actually means, but it sounds cool, I guess. Then verse 2, I'm worse at what I do best, and for this gift I feel blessed. So we have an AA, and then our little group has always been and always will until the end. So we have another AABB verse. And again, it's just describing this kind of teenage angst, the feeling of being a teenager and having all these feelings and emotions and not knowing necessarily how to express them in a healthy way, but it kind of encapsulates just that idea that we all had when we were teenagers, right? That the emotional state that we were in. And then we have another pre-chorus, which is the same as the first pre-chorus. And that's introducing the chorus with the lights out, less dangerous, et cetera, et cetera. So we have that AAAA rhyme scheme, and then we have the same post-chorus. And then we come to verse 3. And I forget just why I taste. Oh yeah, I guess it makes me smile. So we've departed from the AABB that were in verse 1 and 2. And now in verse 3, lines 1 and 2 do not rhyme at all, but lines 3 and 4 do. So we've departed from the original rhyme scheme, and gotten into something slightly different here. And I forget just why I taste. Oh yeah, I guess it makes me smile. I found it hard. It's hard to find. Oh well, whatever. Never mind. Find and mind are the ones that rhyme. And again, this is still just kind of describing the mind state of what it's like to be a teenager and having all the angst and all that kind of stuff. Then we have our pre-chorus, a final chorus, and then we have a post-chorus. And then we add to this post-chorus with a denial that repeats several times. So a mulatto, an albino, a mosquito, my libido, a denial, a denial, a denial. So albino and denial kind of rhyme a little bit better here. But you can kind of see how they've used this song structure to get this song going, right? And the rhyme schemes that they used. And like I said, when it comes to the lyrics, I can only give you generalities. There's nothing, there's no objective standard on how you're supposed to go about and craft these lyrics. You can be abstract. You can be non-abstract. You can be telling a story or not telling a story. You can be giving advice. You can be expressing an emotional mind state or an idea or a thought, right? In this case, Smells Like Teen Spirit is mostly just kind of describing a state of mind or an emotional state rather than telling a story. And it's using kind of abstract language in order to do that. Hey Jude is just somebody kind of telling a story through the advice that they're sharing with somebody, and you kind of get the sense of what that story is. It's a story of, a person that has feelings for somebody, but doesn't have the courage to go and tell that person, the feelings that they have for them and to win that person over. And you get that story through the advice that's being given. Smells Like Teen Spirit, it's more just kind of an abstract concept that's describing emotional states and kind of that feeling that you had as a teenager with all the angst and all the pent-up energy that you didn't know how to express, and how you kind of maybe felt unsure and exciting and all these kind of things all roll into one, right? So, and it's a great song. All three of these songs are great songs, but these are just some of the examples I'm using. I'm using them because they're from, maybe about 20, 30 years apart from each other. Each of them, they were all #1 huge hits, and they're all different from each other, and they all kind of approach songwriting from a different perspective, but they also share some similarities with each other as well, right? The last one we're going to look at is Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. This was a huge hit, several years ago, and it's got a pretty standard song structure. You got verse 1, pre-chorus, chorus, verse 2, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, and then chorus, and then like half chorus at the end here. But so it's this one is also fairly conventional, right? So verse 1, I've been trying to call. I've been on my own for long enough. Maybe you can show me how to love. Maybe. I'm going through withdrawals. You don't even have to do too much. You can turn me on with just a touch. Baby. So in this case, we've got an A, B, B kind of thing. So we have enough and love that rhyme with each other. And then we have much and touch that rhyme with each other. But then there's also another little subtle thing that they're doing here, which is they're also rhyming maybe with baby, and they're rhyming call with withdrawal. So I've been trying to call, line 1, which rhymes with line 4, I'm going through withdrawals. Then we have lines 2 and 3 that rhyme with each other, enough and love. And then we have this maybe and baby, so lines 3 and 6 also rhyme. So it's relatively clever here. And they're kind of like approaching the rhyme scheme from a few different angles. I don't know if this was intentional or not. Probably was, but so I've been trying to call. I've been on my own for long enough. Maybe you can show me how to love. Maybe. So enough and love rhyme here, and then maybe kind of stands on its own at first. But then I'm going through withdrawals, which rhymes with calls. You don't even have to do too much. You can turn me on with just a touch. Much and touch rhyme, but then baby rhymes with maybe. So we've got an A, B, B, then an A, C, C, and then we have this kind of tacked on rhyme scheme here. So I'm not even sure how you would necessarily formulate it, but it's kind of like a rhyme within a rhyme, if you will. Then we come to the pre-chorus. I look around and Sin City's cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can't see clearly when you're gone. So the rhyme scheme here, maybe empty and clearly. So I look around and Sin City's cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can't see clearly. So empty and clearly kind of rhyme. Judge me and empty kind of sort of rhyme. It's a little ambiguous, but again, you don't have to have such a strong rhyme scheme if you don't want to, right? And then when you're gone is sort of, this is kind of serving the purpose again. And I guess I should have said this before, but verse 1 is kind of setting up the stage. Again, the purpose of verse 1 is to kind of set the stage and get ready for what your chorus is, right? So this is just giving you the emotional state of what's happening. The pre-chorus is then going to kind of bridge from verse 1 into the chorus here. Hello, 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 how low? Hello, 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 how low? And then the chorus is kind of like the emotional release. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now and to entertain us, right? So we're setting up the mind state, the emotional state that we're in right here. And the chorus is kind of doing a similar thing, but it's expressing it in a more vivid manner. When it comes to Blinding Lights, I've been trying to call it, we're saying that this person is kind of sick of being on their own and is looking for that person to kind of come and make them feel better, right? And then the pre-chorus is kind of introducing a little bit of new information and getting you ready for the bridge. Sin City's cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. So this person, from what I can tell, is, basically out in Nevada and they are, going through the downtown, the lights, the billboards, the casinos. They're seeing all this stuff, and all they can really think about when they're in this kind of atmosphere is the person that they want to be with, right? I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. I said, ooh, I'm drowning in the night. Oh, when I'm like this, you're the one I trust. So lights, night, touch, trust, A, B, rhyme scheme. And the story we're kind of getting here is that this person's kind of driving through the strip in Nevada, and they're missing their girl, their person, their love, whatever you want to call it. And even though they're surrounded by all this excitement and all these lights and all this glamour, the one thing that they really want is that one person to be with them, right? Verse 2, I'm running out of time because I can see the sun light up the sky, so I hit the road in overdrive, baby. Running out of time because I can see the light, or sun light up the sky, so I hit the road in overdrive. Time, light, sky, and drive all kind of rhyme a little bit. And so they're kind of using an A, B, B sort of rhyme scheme, which is similar to A, B, B here. They just don't have the other three lines to go with it. So it's like a half of a verse almost right here. Verse 2 is kind of half of what this verse 1 is. And so they're only using half of the rhyme scheme. So instead of A, B, B, A, C, C, they're just doing an A, B, B here. A, B, B, sky, drive. And this is introducing some new information. So when we are here, there's just a sense of longing for that person. But here we're adding a new stipulation. We're running out of time. The sun's coming up. Now we're adding some urgency, right? So we're taking the setup that we've introduced in verse 1, and now with verse 2, we're kind of recontextualizing a little bit. We're adding new information. We're adding that sense of urgency. So now it's no longer just, I miss you, but like, if I don't see you something bad's going to happen, right? We're adding that sense of urgency here. And then we come to the pre-chorus. Now, the two pre-choruses are not exactly the same. The city's cold and empty. So instead of I look around and Sin City's cold and empty, we just have the city's cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can't see clearly when you're gone. So while the pre-choruses are very similar, they're slightly different, but you can kind of almost consider them close enough for government work that they are repeating each other, right? And then we come back to the chorus. Blinded by the lights, can't sleep to the touch, blah, 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 blah. And then after this chorus, we come to a bridge. I'm just walking by to let you know. I could never say it on the phone. We'll never let you go this time. And so this is recontextualizing some stuff. You get the idea here that in verse 1 and even in verse 2 that this person is missing their girl, their loved one, whatever, this relationship that they're in. But now they're saying, we'll never let you go this time. They're recontextualizing it. They're saying that there may have been some fault here that wasn't kind of introduced here in verses 1 or 2. We're saying that there may have been a breakup or some sort of an argument or some sort of a fight or some sort of reason why this person is not actually with this person now. And so we're recontextualizing the song, the chorus and everything with this bridge, right? And so that's kind of doing adding that kind of twist, right? We're adding some new information again, but we're doing it with a twist. Like before, you might have just imagined that, oh, this person just misses his sweetheart. Well, now it's not just that he misses his sweetheart, but he feels guilty or has some sort of reason that he was part of the problem or he was part of the reason that he's not with this person, right? And so it can kind of recontextualize it. Oh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. And so that kind of this sense of longing that we get in the chorus is kind of recontextualized here by this feeling of guilt that he's kind of expressing in the bridge. One thing that I thought was odd, though, is I could never say it on the phone. The first line is, I've been trying to call. So, like, if you couldn't say it on the phone, why are you trying to call? And that's my own little thing. Again, very popular song, a huge hit in, like, I think 2020. But, no song is perfect. But lyrically, this is actually telling a story. It's telling the story of a guy who's driving down the strip in Nevada. Excuse me. And he's missing his sweetheart, and he just can't feel complete without her. He needs her by her side, needs her by his side. He's running out of time. Now we're adding some urgency. And then same thing where, I need you by my side. And even though it's probably a little bit of my fault, I still need you. Excuse me. And so that's kind of the story that's being told here, right? And so all three of these songs are using these relatively common rhyme schemes and song structures to a degree. The Beatles are probably the furthest thing from it when it comes to song structure. I mean, they're still using verses, they're using bridges, they're using choruses, but they have them in, a different order than what might be more conventional today. Smells Like Teen Spirit and Blinding Lights are both using more conventional song structures in order to tell the stories or get across the message or emotional states that they're trying to convey. And you can see that all three of them are using rhyme schemes. Now, they're not always rhyming. There are times when they don't rhyme, but they're all trying to kind of utilize a little bit of the rhyme scheme. Now, like I said, there are songs out there, popular songs, that don't utilize necessarily the rhyme schemes or the song structures or stuff like that these are. But I'm using these as examples to kind of show you how popular artists and songs have used these song structures, rhyme schemes, and these bridges, verses, choruses, all of this kind of these song structures in order to craft songs that have become extremely popular. And so I encourage you to look up lyrics from songs that you really love and enjoy, and you can use this kind of as a reference or a guide to kind of maybe analyze what it is that they're doing in their songs. And you're probably going to find other structures and other rhyme schemes that are not included in here. This is not all of them. These are just some of the more common ones. And you can sort of learn how these artists and writers, authors, whatever you want to call them, poets, were able to craft their songs, their lyrics, and their song structures. And you can kind of use that as a guide to craft your own. And once you've kind of learned these conventions, you can start to kind of break the rules if you want to, or you can lean into the convention. There's nothing wrong with that. The best artists in the world use these conventional kind of structures for a reason. They are very relatable, they're common, and popular. That being said, if you want to go outside the box, you can. There's nothing wrong with that. You can have a song that's nothing but verses. You can have a song that's just a verse and a chorus, like a TikTok video or something. Like do whatever you feel is necessary and appropriate to convey the thoughts, emotions, feelings, or tell the story that you want to tell in a way that makes sense to you. And you can use these things as a guide, right? You can use the verses, you can use the pre-choruses, the choruses, the post-choruses, the bridges, all of this kind of stuff as a tool to convey the message or tell the story or express the emotion, thought, idea, whatever it is that you want to do. So anyways, I hope this has been helpful. We may potentially get into a deeper dive on kind of this stuff and how you might be able to go about doing this, but I think your best way to go about it is to look up songs that you already like and kind of look at what they're doing lyrically, how they're doing their rhyme schemes or not using rhymes, where they're putting their verses, their choruses, their pre-choruses, their bridges, how they're using them, and what kind of language are they using to, or like what words, what phrases are they using to tell the story or, give the emotion or the idea or whatever it is that they're trying to convey, and borrow from that in order to kind of help you write better music. But I don't know, maybe we'll get into a video on how to actually go about crafting the lyrics in a future date, but I'm not, it is so subjective. I'm not sure there's any kind of great way to go about doing that, aside from just kind of giving like this broad general overview of some of the tools and some of the conventional ways that you can kind of go about doing it. But anyways, I hope that this has been helpful. I hope you guys have yourselves a wonderful week, a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.